So I have a question. So, um,
Good.
whatever happened with your parents? Like, how did you mend that? Because your
Yeah.
dad must have been very disappointed because parents want their kids to do certain things, but
Yes. Initially, yeah, he was because first he would support any sport, any except bodybuilding, because in his psychiatrist's mind, he was saying that if man uses a mirror to look at himself other than shaving and combing his hair, he has a narcissistic tendency.
oh,
So he wasn't really, for it. But when he saw I was my teenage years and early 20s, you could never see me in a tank top or shirtless anywhere. I would usually cover up and I would not show off. I mean, this was, and he saw it and he kind of, okay, he realized I don't have this tendency to now look at me, be attention seeker. I wanted to look like that, right? I was doing it for myself, not for anybody else.
mm-hmm.
Why would I do something my body to please somebody else? No, hell no. I was doing it for myself. But he didn't really expect that I'm going to go to the world class level. So when I actually won Miss Universe, that's a major accomplishment, right? It's a world champion. So he gained respect for it. And then when I turned pro, I mean, he really appreciated it. Unfortunately, he didn't have a chance to see my pro success. There was tragic thing. He got a stroke, and that was short story. I would say it. When I heard that my father had got a stroke, I was preparing for the my pro debut, but then immediately I flew back to my country to be there with him. And stroke, unfortunately, had him paralyzed his right side, and then he had his left leg amputated, so he was very, very handicapped at the time. And the worst thing about stroke is it hits some centers in the brain that sometimes, memory is saved, but motoristic or speech or whatever is affected. So, which I learned is that my father was completely clear, same knowledge, he's the most educated guy that I knew. So he knew exactly what was happening. But when he would try to talk, he wasn't able to. When he would try to write, he wasn't able to
Oh,
because it takes, yeah, it was so bad. So I was saying this for a long time, and I just kind of trained. I didn't really prepare for the contest because I had to stay at home. And then there was that one critical moment. I thought, okay, I'm taking him to bed. He's going to go sleep, and I'm going to go at night, and I'm going to go train. But by the time I came back to home, I found my mom and my dad on the floor. My mom tried to pick him up. She couldn't handle it. She fell down and broke her leg. And then
oh,
me coming in and I seeing this, and then I could just see that my father was so mad at me that I wasn't there available. That's one of those moments, that you regret to the rest of your life. But anyway, then they recovered, and pretty much, my father was getting better, so then they told me, okay, I can go back to the States, So 17 days before the show, I made it to California. And then I thought, okay, there's not enough time to prepare. But because I was always fairly lean, I said, let me just, do it. It's not going to be expensive. It's San Jose. I have a short flight. I'm just going to test my waters and abilities on the pro stage. And surprisingly, I mean, I placed third and qualified for Olympia, and that catapulted my career.
mm-hmm.
But my father died shortly after that, so he never really saw my achievements. My
Mm.
mother, on another side, yeah, she was, you know, always more inclined to have me to become a doctor like my sister. So I was kind of, black sheep of the family because they're all academics, and I actually never graduated. I didn't get the diploma. But I do believe that I learned way more on my own than I ever learned in university, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's one of those things, and my father would encourage me for that think with your own head. Uh, Whatever you read, whatever you see, whatever you hear, process, and don't let them tell you how to think. You have to make up your mind. If it makes sense, do it. If it doesn't matter, how even history is made by the winners. Maybe it's not true, but it's written that way. So, and you have to just accept it. Well, even some science books and postulations and assumptions are just that is accepted. Oh, this is it. So I tell you, interesting thing that I got from my father back in that time, when he realized I'm training and I want to create a hypertrophy, he asked me, okay, explain to me how you're going to grow the muscle. So he always challenged me. So if I'm doing something, I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. I just don't have to follow the blind. So he said, how do you explain to me? So I told him, okay, well, you go to the gym, you lift that weights with intense overload principle, you stimulate the muscle, you have that mechanical tension, muscle damage, metabolic buildups, so that it's going to create catabolic event. You're going to break it down, and then your body's going to rebuild it. Oh, so he goes, oh, so you're going to be catabolic. Define catabolic. Well, breaking down. I say catabolic is alarming state in the medicine. If you're a catabolic patient, you're treated with urgency. Let's get you out of catabolism. So he says, let me understand that you want to break down to rebuild. So let's break your room right now. So then tomorrow you can rebuild it. And then next day, back and forth, just break it. I say, why on earth? I say, don't you want to be anabolic? I say, yeah, but that happens after when you eat and your body replenish all the nutrients that you have lost, the rebuild. So I said, did you ever think about that? And he created that hyperemia advantage principle, which is increased blood flow to the muscle. Okay, so all of us, Monica, have about 5 liters. I have 6 liters of blood. And right now, as we're not active, maybe 10% is in the muscles, right? There's no need for supplying blood to the muscle at that point of inactivity. But when we train, whatever we do, you did your rollerblading or gymnastics or bodybuilding, increase blood flow to the working muscle. Well, in bodybuilding, when you isolate the muscle, you can have a 60-70% of that blood going into the muscle. So my father says, did you ever think about this? I said, what do you mean? I said, what if you supply all the nutrients you want to deliver to that muscle, okay, in elemental state, which is pre-digested, so it's ready for uptake. So if you have passengers in an airplane and go from Europe to America, right? Every seat is filled. That's very effective flight, right? So what you're doing, you're sending the empty plane, right, to the muscle. You have a blood that is unprepared. You didn't get any nutrients in your feeding before, because I told him like hour and a half before a workout, you're supposed to eat. So you're gonna digest a little bit. You're gonna have some amino acids and the carbohydrates and stuff like that. He said, why didn't you wanna maximize? That minimization, optimization, maximization comes from him also. Don't you wanna maximal results in everything you do? Yes, I do. So don't you want a maximal amount of nutrients, anabolic, anti-catabolic, fat-burning nutrients that you have there? And then with each muscle contraction, you're going to open up the cell and it's ready for uptake. So you now basically nail all these nutrients into the muscle cell or the muscle fibers that you want to build. Does it make sense? And I was like, damn, that makes so much sense. But I mean, my father is not the bodybuilder, right? So why? I mean, this is how it was, but it was overwhelmingly logical what he was saying. But I didn't read this in exercise physiology books. I didn't read this in any bodybuilding magazines, right? You're supposed to eat before, train on empty stomach, you break down so you can replenish it. But my curiosity was, okay, it made some sense, so let me try it. So I got some essential amino acids. We had it in Serbia. And I get just pure dextrose, very cheap monosaccharide, the glucose carbohydrate. And I start using it intra-workout. I blew up. Like actually people would suggest that I was on steroids because my gains were like so dramatic. And I said, oh my God, my father was right. And then I said, like, okay, let me now research what else can I add to this equation. It was at the time just essential amino acids, BCAAs, the creatine, glutamine, beta-alanine, citrulline, anything that could potentially, be beneficial. I was saying, this is the time to do it. And I don't know how you feel about that, and I don't know if you actually tried this intra-workout supplementation. If you didn't, the whole thing is you're gonna activate the muscle, increase blood flow, create hyperemia into that muscle. If you're a soccer player, basketball player, MMA fighter, if you're whatever athlete, your specific muscle fiber is going to be activated. Okay, don't you want to nourish it with exact nutrients that can increase your speed, power, hypertrophy, glycogen storage, energy, endurance? This is the concept. It made complete sense for me, but I didn't patent it. I didn't do the double-blind university study, and I don't have a PhD degree to now put the stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said many times, a gram of theory of practice can be heavier than a ton of theory, right? There's a lot of those researchers. You Google anything right now, and you can have all the research positives and negatives, but those are staged results that you don't even know how to read it. Sometimes, okay, if you and I do something and we have like absolutely minimal improvements, let's say we improve our lean body mass for 1 gram. 1 gram doesn't mean anything, right? But we're not going to say 1 gram, we're going to say 1,000 milligrams, or even better, million micrograms. So now if you put the million and micrograms, average person doesn't look at that part, just a million times, more. And that's how they start advertising and getting all this great new supplements that sometimes don't do really much, but they are advertised that way. For me, it was, if I say something, I have to stand behind it. And that whoever listens to this interview and they had any challenges, I'm always more than happy to answer, because I don't say I'm right, but I'm going to defend every of my theory, and then I can point out to about 100 professionals that I prepared for a contest, of which about 40 made it to the Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a sole example, it is what I do with everybody.
I love it. So I guess if I'm thinking about what you're saying correctly, then I have been someone that's used like branch chain amino acids while I'm working out. Is that what you're talking about, right?
Yes. You see, but this is that old theory of BCAAs, isoleucine, leucine, valine, branch chain aminos. But if I can ask you, why did you take them? For what purpose? Do you remember what was idea of?
I guess my understanding was just the increase the protein synthesis and protecting the muscle.
So that would be right choice. That would be right choice to use it. But most of the people and how they're advertised, they would say branch chain amino acids spare muscle glycogen. Spare muscle glycogen. Muscle glycogen is glucose, right? But body would use amino acids, BCAAs, as a fuel. Okay, so it's not going to actually be used, to build the muscle and save the muscle. It would be actually burned as a fire of your energy. So initially, when I talk about if you take BCAAs, make sure you take some carbohydrate with it. So carbohydrate can be used for muscle contraction and as a fuel, and BCAAs, leucine, valine, can be integrated into the muscle tissue. So for me, yeah, this is the first step. Back in the day, BCAAs were accepted. Later, when people realized there's only 3 out of 8 or 9 essential amino acids, then they added essential rather than BCAAs. But it was just common practice like 30 years ago, and I always recommend intra-workout BCAAs, EAAs, and then of course I give them carbohydrates. Now, that could be a touchy subject, maybe even for you, for your athletes that you have, that you would probably be on the low carbohydrates. You would be scared to give them carbohydrates during a training, right? Because let's, stay no carbs or maybe in ketosis and, burn fat more efficiently. But if you just have, let's say, 15, 20 grams of carbohydrates intra-workout, this is going to be increasing blood sugar level. That blood sugar carbohydrate is going to be one that is being burnt. So you're not going to dig into your glycogen storage to give you that carbohydrate that is missing in your diet or during a workout. You just sip in between set and let that carbohydrate of choice, whatever it is that you take, maintain your blood sugar level. So if you take BCAAs only, try BCAAs with a little bit of carbs, with no other dieting parameter change. I think you're going to see a big improvement.
Okay, that's good information. I love it. Get a little tip of the day. And you're talking
Yeah.
about like the powdered carb, right? Like, yeah,
Powder carb. I mean, look, there is so many of those
right.
high molecular weight glucose polymers and all this stuff. But again, as my father said, just think, think, think. And I was sold on this high molecular weight glucose polymer theory. It's fast gastric emptying, favorable osmolality. It's advanced. It's better than simple carbohydrate like dextrose. But dextrose is molecule of glucose. It doesn't need to be changed. It's exactly what it is. If you have a sucrose, it's table sugar, right? That's glucose and fructose, two molecules. So fructose had to go to liver to be converted to glucose, right? Then you have a polysaccharides, like hundreds of those, thousands of those, okay? And they tell you that this is better than only one. I say, why? So after I tried what they were saying, and then I said, no, 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 let me just go back to simple carbohydrate. It worked exactly the same, because final result, you're going to get the glucose from either. You're going to get the glucose just from a dextrose. It doesn't really need to be converted. It's there. Like protein, right? You take protein to get amino acids from. So when you take certain protein, you're going to get specific aminos. That's final result. So from carbohydrates, final result is glucose. Well, I just think that overpriced carbohydrate is not necessary. That it is very easy to get the simple carb.
What brand do you recommend?
I'm just now proudly saying I just signed a deal with GYM supplements. So everything that I'm going to be doing is going to be related to this company. Jim Stepani, who works there, Vince Sandrich, you probably met back in the day with Reader's office, and Mike McCarlin, he worked for Flex Online. That's the team, and they just accepted me. With all this, with a kind of touchy subject, hyperemia advantage theory, we're going to create this free intra post workout supplementation.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to do, to really maximize it.
Well, let me know when it's ready, because I would love to try it, but I'd also love to have you back on here and talk about it again and just show the products and talk about that. So, okay, I'm trying to look at the time. I know you had an appointment after me. So can we touch bases real quick on the Arnold and maybe share? You've got a couple clients going, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Hopefully I get to grab you for a couple minutes, but for the Monica Brandt show there. But tell us about your clients.
Yeah, I hope we're going to be able to, when people are competing and they have to go tanning and
say no more. I totally understand
how that goes. So I can promise you, but I work with the two spectacular athletes, Regan Grimes and Samson Dauda. Both my athletes, they're very, very symmetrical. I appreciate that kind of physique. Of course, I'm from aesthetic era that I would like to see more beauty than a beast, right? I mean, when we talk about bodybuilding, I don't know how you think, but there's two different directions it can go. I respect everybody. I mean, I know what it takes to build so much muscle that some of those we call them mass monsters have. But then again, I came from era when, in 70s, Frank Zane, who was under 200 pounds, can be number one bodybuilder in the world because of just sheer beauty and aesthetics and shape. The way I look at it, you show the pictures to a million people, average people, and they point finger, I want to look like this guy. That should be maybe kind of ideal that IFBB should, aim for. But because of this complex judging criteria that you have a size, muscularity, balance, shape, aesthetics, presentation, conditioning, they kind of have to always mix and match. So last year's Arnold Classic was won by Nick Walker, who just overwhelmed everybody. I mean, I would give him the victory. But, I don't particularly like exactly his aesthetics, but he has so much size and so much conditioning that even he made me a believer. Okay, this guy won hands down with all that size. Now we're gonna bring aesthetic package for both of the Samson and Regan. Would that be enough to win the contest? That you never know. The way I see it, there's 10 guys, and realistically, like 6-7 guys can go beat each other at any given moment. Anybody can beat anybody. So yeah, of course, I'm aiming, with both of my guys to be at the top. Are they going to be given a chance? Are they going to have enough quality to be top guys? We'll see. I mean, Brandon Curry is competing, and he's a huge favorite. I mean, that's Mr. Olympia, runner-up twice in the last 2 years, Arnold Classic champion back in the day. We have a William Boniak, who is also second at Olympia, Arnold Classic champion. Those have to be like top 2 favorite on the paper. Cedric McMillan also won Arnold Classic. Then, Max Charles, Brett Wilkin, there's Steve Kuklo. There's
is Steve on stage again?
Yeah, Steve is on stage again, and Steve was close third. He was second after the prejudging last year, and then so how can I say, right? Oh yeah, my guys are going to beat Steve. Right. No, we are preparing.
They're going to be ready though.
Yeah, they're going to be ready, and then let the judges decide. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm a huge fan of the Arnold Classic. Whole weekend, they treat athletes the way they're supposed to be treated. Right. Audience always enjoyed it, and yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to being there again. So I'll be there with the Arnold education piece, and I'm looking forward to just getting to see everyone. I haven't been there in a few years, and let's see, I think this will be my 22nd year to go. Wow. And also be hosting, of course, I told you, the Monica Branch show. So I'm looking forward to and they'll just be short little videos, like, little clips, like 10, 15 minutes max, 5 minutes, like whatever somebody has. So be fun to connect with you there if it works out. I totally understand. I get the whole athlete experience, but just wishing you all the best. I know your guys are going to be ready. They can't help but be ready with you. Yeah. And I'm sure that they're going to do really well, Milos.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
I know. Looking forward to seeing you again too. And I probably need to bring a couple of the covers and have you sign them for me.
I would if you bring them. You see, I had them. I lost all of them because I moved from U.S. back to Europe in 2011, and I just lost everything. But it's okay.
Well, if I have any extra, I don't know what I have in my stash. I was trying to narrow things down to like just one of each thing, but if I have any extras, I'll have to bring for you.
Yeah, don't worry. That's why there's digital media, right? So you can have them online.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun to have a copy here and there. Yeah. Milos, thank you so much. And it's wonderful to just hear your mind. No wonder you have that nickname. You're so smart, you're brilliant. And of course, your passion for what is just oozing out. So it's fun to hear. And thank you for the tip. And I do look forward to hearing about that product when it comes out. So
yes,
you'll have to let me know.
Yeah, JYM Supplements and I would get together shortly at Arnold and prepare everything. It's going to be a huge launch. I love that they gave me opportunity because they heard my theory, and they are also thinking exactly the same. So they want to make these products. It's
Great.
going to be the highest quality. Pretty much put it this way: whatever is going to be in these supplements, going to be integrated to your muscle fiber. So it's going to be the highest quality possible, because that supplement becomes part of you. So this is why we're not going to compromise on the ingredients.
That's
Some companies would just rather go a little bit cheaper to get price range, whatever. But I said, if I'm going to put my name behind it, and they agree, we're going to have the highest quality fermented amino acids that is going to be part of your muscle fiber soon after you take it.
It sounds wonderful. It sounds
Thank
great. I trust you 100%.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know
I'm
you've got another appointment that's waiting for you. I don't want to keep you on any longer, although I would love to keep talking.
Thank you so much, Monica. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to see this episode, whatever it's going to be.
It'll be soon. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And I think you're traveling to Mexico. Is that right?
Mexico tomorrow. Yeah, I have a training camp in Guadalajara.
Well, God bless your trip.
Yes,
make sure you come back, because you got to get to the Arnold.
Yes, that's true. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Bye, Milos. All right, guys, that was awesome. It's so fun to connect with my friends, and hopefully you guys learned something there. I mean, you never know what these guys are going to be able to share with us, and it's always an honor to hear the things that have helped them, that have helped create their business, their physiques. And I think it's exciting to learn new things. You never, what do they say, that every day you should teach something and learn something. So today I've learned something. So, all right, you guys, have a blessed rest of your day. Stay fit, love life, and we'll see you next time on the Monica Brent Show. Just wanted to thank you so much for watching the Monica Brent Show, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share these videos, and and that little bell notification, don't forget to click that so you'll get more great content every time there's a show uploaded or a video or anything else. So you guys, thank you so much for your support, and as always, stay fit and love life.